Hello, Mechwarriors, and welcome to the Mech Bay, where we fix your mech and fix your game.
What's going on, Mechwarriors? I'm your host, Steve, and I've got my co-host, Lore Master Denham.
Howdy, howdy.
And we are the Mech Bay Podcast, your number one source for all things casual to competitive Battletech. Josh is taking his first vacation, and we might have accidentally changed the locks on him. He'll be back soon. Today, we're bringing you news from the innermost sanctum of Kerensky himself. We had an inside mole at KerenskyCon, a convention for only the highest owners of the Mercenaries Kickstarter. And Denham, you're bringing us news.
I am. So, before we get started on that, I get to talk to you a little bit about how I infiltrated KerenskyCon. It turns out that one of the friends of the show, Cataphract, on the Discord, or as I now know him as Dan, because he's known as Dan to his friends, and I really hope I'm his friend, he was kind enough to offer his +1 to the Mech Bay as a whole. So I immediately, of course, drew a circle of equals and issued a trial of possession. And then something about something Salamna, something. It's like you guys took pity on me and just gave me this one this year.
I mean, we don't know how many years you got left at him.
Either way, I appreciate being nominated for this. It was truly an honor. It was a fantastic trip, and I cannot wait to talk about it.
Before we get into what you discovered and what you're going to share with us and the listeners today, why don't we start it off with a little bit of news, hobby progress, and games played.
Fantastic.
I made a mistake, which never happens. I'm flawless, as I am humble. I stated last time about ACO, the Atlantic City Open. I said that it was going to cost $85 for a ticket. I lied to you, and I apologize. ACO's $85 price point is for your whole team of 3 people.
Oh, that is different.
Yeah, it's a big difference, so I apologize for misleading you. What it is if you're going to go solo and you're looking for team, right, you don't have a group that you want to play with, your entry fee is $30. And that's going to get you 3 rounds of Alpha Strike on Friday and 4 rounds of Classic on Saturday and Sunday. So, Brad, I think I got all the details right now. If I make a mistake, let me know, and I'll correct it in the next episode. But since 90% of this episode is going to be news anyway, I think all the other news we have is related directly to AdeptiCon and KerenskyCon, so we'll put a pin in that. Denham, did you get any hobby progress done?
I actually, because of my campaign play, I need more Karita forces, so I have been picking and choosing through a lot of my mechs, and I've just been painting them second sword of light red. It's an easy paint job, but it looks really good when it's done. So I'm just filling out my Karita forces, a necessary thing that I need to do. So I've got probably another company done of them.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
It's easy. Like it's spray them black and then heavy dry brush red, then add details.
What red do you use?
I use Vallejo's just red. Just red.
Oh.
It's the 69.008 red color. And it goes on nice and dark, especially over a black primer, and it looks really, really good.
Oh, good. I don't know what I expected. They're red, and I guess you just use red.
I use blood of my enemies. That's what I use.
Look, man, they have paints like that, so I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, no, just Vallejo red.
Great. So you got a whole 12 done. How many more do you need to do?
As many as I want. Like I get so many. I get about 2 of each mech when they come out. So one of them I tend to do for my op for campaign day, and I like all of my guys to look the same. It just looks good on the board. So if people are playing, most of the red mechs are the bad guys. I know that some of the players do paint their mechs in red colors, but they don't tend to do second sword of light. But I know that red is a very common paint scheme. But as long as all of mine look the same, it makes far less confusion on the field.
I do something similar.
It will never end. Like the answer is it will never end.
Sure. Well, I didn't know if for your specific campaign you needed X number of units for the field. Or
nope.
So.
As new mechs come out, I'm like, ooh, I want to play with these guys. So I paint them up and put them up against the other players.
I like to do the same thing. I'm doing that now, the mercenary stuff. So I'm just starting to paint stuff in that green and brown that I've been doing.
Yeah.
Speaking of that green and brown, I put some of my finishing touches on a Wraith, the Black Knight that I had. The Griffin that I painted at Brawl in the Bluegrass, I put some additional details in it. And I finished a Greyhound, actually, in that mercenary scheme. So
Cool.
got a couple things done. That Black Knight and Wraith have been sitting in my box like 98% done for weeks. And I'm like, oh, I have the stuff up for my cockpits and lasers. Let's clean them up. So those finally got done. It's also not hobby progress if we don't talk about new acquisitions. Denham, did you come home with anything fun?
While I was at KerenskyCon, there were so many cool things that were there. I think there were only 18 Kerenskys there, but there were a few plus ones and a few other people. But the problem was that all of these tables full of stuff were specifically for the Kerenskys. So I was allowed to look at them. I could touch them. I could smell them. They wouldn't let me taste them, and I certainly couldn't take one home. So there's a lot of things that I got to see, but not acquire. However, they did get the Battlefield Support Emplacements box right before we left that they were bringing to AdeptiCon, and they did open it up and allow me to buy one. But there was a hard limit on how many I could buy so that they could have some for AdeptiCon, which, I mean, they still sold out in like 10 minutes at AdeptiCon. So they absolutely needed more.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. The same thing happened at AdeptiCon 2023 when I went. I mean, they had opened the store on like that Thursday night, and all the hot items were gone by Friday morning when people showed up. So
yeah, but I mean, no regrets or anything. I got to see some really cool stuff. And when I got home, my local store did have the Davian Heavy Battle Lance and the Cavalry Lance, so I did pick those up as well.
Nice. I actually also got my hands on a Davian Battle and Cavalry Lance, and I also picked up an Eosphere Pursuit Lance, which has that the Dervish, the Clint, the Cicada, and the Hermes. So
I did get to look at the third Star League strike team, the one with the Jackalope, the Kentaro, the plastic Hammerhead, the Havoc, the pre-painted Lament, which is a black and yellow, and it looks so good.
Oh, really?
It also includes the J-27 Ordnance Transport. So happy. So I'm excited for whatever that, like, it was such a cool objective piece, because you got to keep your mechs full of ammo. You asked the clan mechs on Tukid if they need a J-27.
The answer is no, because most of the Tukid refits used lasers, Denham.
Because the Interfere kept blowing up their J-27s. That's why. And it was the Comstars refits that went laser heavy so that they didn't have to worry about ammo. A lot of the clans did have ammo, and therefore they had ammo supply problems, which is one of the main reasons why most of them lost.
Allegedly.
Like the Jade Falcons.
Allegedly. Hey, we tied. We took Olena, and then we lost two humps or whatever it is. I forget the two cities. But yeah. Anything else you come home with? Anything else fun?
I mean, I got a ton of awesome signatures. I have the Universe book.
Yeah.
The cool ass Universe book. I got so many people to sign that. I did not get Wiseman to sign it because he missed, or he wasn't able to make his flight, and so he was not there.
Oh no!
He's probably the only major player that is, being that he is one of the two founders of BattleTech. I would have really liked to have his signature in there, and I'm sure I will. I mean, like, this is not my only chance. I will meet up with him sometime. But I got a lot of really cool names in my book, so it is even more special.
Great, that's super exciting. I ended up picking up some blind boxes because I have a problem.
My problem is my store doesn't have any blind boxes. They are out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sad for you that you have such an active community in your local area. But yeah, so I ripped those open this afternoon, and I got a Cicada, an Oscout, and a Caesar. So.
Oh, that Caesar's nice.
Yeah. I used one to kill Josh last week.
Was it the one with the
Goss.
heavy, the heavy Goss, the hardened armor? Yeah. I like that one. I also took out one of Josh's pilots with one of those.
Yeah, you shot him straight in the face. I got that ammo explosion in the right torso, so that was fun.
So good.
Did you get any games played?
I, as a matter of fact, I got some games played, but I only really want to talk about one of them right now.
Let's have it.
Yeah. So while I was at KerenskyCon, I played a horror-themed game similar to the Black Marauder stuff, but this was an Atlas with a jack-o'-lantern head and a big hatchet. This sucker was massive, and it was all the regular mechs were fighting against this one Eldritch horror mech.
Okay.
So we either won as a group or lost as a group. At the beginning, we didn't see the Atlas, so we didn't know where he was going to come from. But I figured that we all came in. So it's a big area like a graveyard with a bunch of trees and some things. And there's a fence and a running river. So we crossed the fence, and I was in a 30-25 Thunderbolt. So immediately the first thing I do is I declare I'm walking on, and I am dumping my machine gun and SRM2 ammo. I'm going to keep the LRM because there's only 8 shots of that. And as long as I stay back far enough, I can go through a ton of LRM ammo and not be too worried. But the machine gun, the 200 rounds of machine gun and the 50 SRM, nope, I'm dumping that immediately. Dan was the person playing the Atlas.
Oh.
And what I didn't know is that on turn 1, he was allowed to come in anywhere behind any mech as a surprise, like, a slasher attack, because it was very slasher movie type thing. And as you know, any hits on the rear torso of a mech dumping ammo, it all explodes. So turn 1, I walk on, and I'm like, I'm going to dump my ammo because I'm safe, before any problems start. And the people are like, and you see the jack-o'-lantern head come up behind me. And then just this axe goes plunging through there, and I was just totally wiped out. And then I respawn as Dan's minion. So now it's me and Dan going around trying to take people down. To make a long story short, it did not go well for the Inner Sphere hero mechs. They were picked off in 1s and 2s, and they never got anywhere close to taking that Atlas down. I was eventually taken down again for the final time in an epic manner. It took 3 mechs to finally take me down, and it was really fun.
That's awesome.
It was so much fun. I got a betrayer medal. I already put the picture out on the Discord. It was super fun. I like that a lot.
So if we're talking horror films, you would have been the teen sneaking off to go get into illegal.
I was not a virgin. Activities. That is very, very clear.
Yeah, certainly not after Dan got through with you.
That's a joke that I said at the table. I'm like, obviously I'm not a virgin because I just got screwed.
Woof.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Well, it sounds like a great time. I love these types of fun narrative games that have silly rules and do stuff, just different things. It's not fair. It's probably not going to go well.
And it's not supposed to be.
But it's just
and the stories that we got out of that were just amazing.
Sounds great.
Yeah. How about you? Anything?
I got a couple games in, actually. First off, I have a buddy who kind of fell out of love with the BattleTech IP for a long time. And he reached out to me recently saying, hey, Steve, I'd love to kind of dip my toes back in with Alpha Strike. I said, awesome. You pick terms, I'll make lists, and we'll play, and we'll just have fun. So my buddy Carl ran a list of Taurians that was 4 mechs. So he had an Anubis, a Marshal, a Toro, and a Warhammer. And then he took a whole bunch of tanks. So he took 2 SRM carriers, 2 upgraded SRM carriers. Then he took 2 Bulldogs and 2 Scorpions. So I had played the Jade Falcons, and the way we lore ruled this was the Jade Falcons show up to take the Taurians' planet, and we say, what are you going to defend with? And he said, I got a Lance MX and a couple of support vehicles. And we're like, oh, okay, sure. We'll bring a star and 5 elementals. Right? I brought 2 gnomes, 2 elementals, and a squad of salamanders. So, of course.
And you mean points of elementals, not individual elementals?
No, yeah,
right?
Points. Sorry. Well,
yeah, okay,
it's Alpha Strike, so.
Yeah, I was just making sure because sometimes it's bidding. I love the bidding concept, and we've done it at our store too. And it can get pretty like people were bidding away individual elementals of their points.
Oh, that's wild.
It was crazy. It was amazing. We loved it.
So what ends up happening is, the Falcons land and discover, the Taurians weren't 100% truthful. Oops. The support vehicles happen to be SRM carriers. It did not go well. I mean, in Alpha Strike, those SRM carriers are doing 6 short, 6 medium for 27 points. I can't compete. So I was killed to a man in a just volley of explosions. But we had a good time when we played. And what was cool about that is that he was excited enough to try a game of Classic. So we are scheduled to play a Hinterlands game in the next coming week or so. So I'm going to try to see if I can get those hooks back in him and drag him back kicking and screaming.
Yep. I also have a Mercenaries box set demo game scheduled for Tuesday that I'm excited about.
Awesome.
I'm always excited about teaching people that Mercenaries box set. I like it so much.
It's a ton of fun. And actually, speaking of those mercenary games, my buddy Gary, he's not into Classic, but I'm trying to slowly get him into it. I want him to kind of broaden some horizons. So I said, hey, let's make a mercenary force for you, because he's all about the narrative. He wants those stories. And I said, this is, damage is perpetual, right? Head hits matter. So we got a game in, and I guess this is technically for Tales from the Hiring Hall, but we'll move into that section now, right? I mean, I got a game in. We did a meeting engagement on the lake area. His mercenary group was the Gift Face, and he brought a Shadowhawk 5S, a Wraith TR1, a Pike, and a J. Edgar. Meanwhile, I took the Wolverine 7M, the Phoenix Hawk 4M, and a Condor. And being a meeting engagement, this is just smash, right? Someone's got to get crippled, and then you can leave. This game went on for like 3.5 hours. Some of it was teaching. Some of it was looking up a couple of rules. But the vast majority of it is these mechs would not go down. The Wraith
a Wolverine and a Shadowhawk. Like, the Wraith is hard to hit. The Wolverine and Shadowhawk both have a lot of armor. And I don't think either... I know the Shadowhawk, that's the one with the Rack 5?
This 5S, I don't think so. No, that's the one with the... What is his shoulder weapon? I'd have to look it up. I don't recall.
Okay, because the Rack 5 one does not have an XL engine, so I know that it takes forever to take that mech out. So
I just couldn't hit the same location twice. I was spreading it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is in the last turn, he fails a PSR and crits off both of his arms. One was mostly gone. He fell. The falling damage did the internal damage to break the arm off. The other one, he falls, does through armor crit, rolls a 12, and the whole arm pops off. Which
that's amazing.
Which was great. But I didn't do any damage to his other legs. No internal. So he wasn't in forced withdrawal. Meanwhile, before he fell, what did he do? He shot me with, I think, one of his lasers. And it hit the arm, went through the arm, hit the torso, went through the torso, and put one pip into the left torso, which I had damage in my right. So by 1 point, he put me in forced withdrawal with the two torsos opened up.
Yeah.
And I had to back up, and we left, and we called it there. But the new mercenary company, known as the Wicked Hogs, lost their first engagement.
Aw.
It's okay.
But, I mean, it's not like they were annihilated, so they will be back to fight again.
Oh, they were.
And that's the lovely thing about that Mercenaries box set, though, is that even with a loss or two, you're not out of the fight.
No.
Not by a long shot.
No, not at all. It's funny because the next day, I got to play my buddy Kevin, and he brought his Mercenaries box, and he brought the Pulcher's Vultures, which has a Guillotine 5M, a Chameleon 8V. He brought a J. Edgar and a Patton. I brought the same Wolverine and Phoenix Hawk, but this time I took 2 light strikes and a medium emplacement, and this was a defend mission, so I was kind of holding out in front, and Kevin, for the life of him, could not put down my turret. It took him 3 turns to try to kill this turret, but on the first turn, he focused at trying to get its check as low as he could. He did 47 damage to this turret.
Oof.
He needed to roll on, I think it was a 7, and he rolls a 4. So the turret lives, and it's just putting 12-point thwaps into all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Turn 1, his guillotine fails a PSR and lands on his face. And from there, I mean, we kill the Patton, we kill the J. Edgar. My turret's still standing. My turret dies in turn 4. And it gets to the point where, I mean, his guillotine just got lit up. It was terrible. And the bad news was I put his thing into force withdrawal, which was great. And then in the physical phase of the same turn, he kicks me, and he's a level above.
Oh, no.
Kicks me in the chest, which hits my SRM ammo.
Oop.
So that's a problem.
That'll also do it.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
So
That's a couple engine crits. That is an unsalvageable mech.
So, no, it should be salvageable because it wasn't center torso.
Oh, I thought you said he kicked you in the chest.
Well, the left torso, which has the ammo in it.
Okay, the chest to me says center torso, but okay.
The chest has 3 regions, right? You got your left torso,
it does. It does. I assumed, and we know about assumptions.
So, so the mech didn't fare very well. The pilot survived, but had a couple of head whacks. So they're out for the count for a little while until they can heal up after a couple months.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. I got 2 games in, and I'll finish the 3rd contract with Carl when he comes by later this week to learn how to play. I'm
excited.
I'm very excited.
So 2 things. Yeah. 1, I'm very excited that your emplacement did so well because the BSPs they're good at what they do. They really are. Sometimes they go down fast, but sometimes they don't. And I'm happy to see them being used. Second, I keep saying emplacement because you keep saying turret, and they specifically don't have a turret.
So, they don't spin.
Well, the new emplacement support box that comes out does have cards and stats for turrets.
Oh, fantastic!
So some of them are turrets, but the ones that come in the box are emplacements, which is important because no torso twisting or no rotating, and if you get behind one, you do double damage to it.
Yeah,
which is
that's really how you can catch them off guard. But the problem is,
then once you get past them, you just ignore them because they can't turn to shoot you.
That's fair. But in my notes, I write down turret because that's significantly shorter to write down than emplacement.
I know. It confuses people at my store, and I don't want them to think that they can rotate because they cannot.
No. Well, I think that's just about it for Hobby Progress Games Played and my correction. Do you have anything else before we move on to our main topic?
No, not for any of that.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You got a job that needs doing that's a touch unsavory? Need somebody who ain't afraid to get their hands a little dirty, roll around in the mud. Well, we're your men. I'm Deaf Charlie, and this is my gal Big Tina. We'll solve your problems. Clean up any loose ends, no questions. If there are any issues, Pretty Boy Pete here will finish the job. Why do they call me Deaf Charlie? Because the screams don't bother me none. It's like I can't even hear them. Look us up. We're the Wicked Ogs, and we'll get it done.
I have a reporter there in KerenskyCon, and there's a Kerensky conspiracy going on. There's propagandists and world leaders meeting in the dark alleyways and corners of Milwaukee, discussing the development of new horrible mechs, lambs that'll be flying in our skies, leaving chemtrails. I resist this poison. These are just some of the secrets that our sources were able to get word of. Who knows what we'll be able to find in the near future. If you want to hear more about this cult of Kerensky, keep me and my HPG running. Make sure to buy Super Mech Vitality supplements. Use these and you'll have irresistibly dense myomer, guaranteed to give you better heat sinking in the heat of battle, and 30% harder hitting PPCs.
And we're back. Denham, you went, you saw, you come bearing news.
I do.
What of KerenskyCon?
KerenskyCon was amazing. Like I said, there were very few Kerenskys there. There's like 18. Lauren and Randall and Michael Stackpole, like all of those people who were there to see us, they almost outnumbered the Kerenskys. So it was very much the difference between a convention and KerenskyCon is that at a convention, everyone is running around super busy, exhausted by the end of the day, always a fire to be put out. And if you go to talk to Randall and start talking about stories, which he is very interested in, this guy is amazing to talk to. But you've also got 8 people behind you also wanting to tell stories. So his attention is divided. Here at KerenskyCon, there was so much just one-on-one time for meals. Like we were having lunch and Lauren and Randall just came down and sat next to me and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And it's just us. And there's no lines, there's no anything, and we're just able to sit there and chat. I took Michael Stackpole out for dinner, and drinks one night. And we just sat there. It was me and Dan and a guy named Andrew. And we just sat there and chatted and had drinks. And it was amazingly awesome. Super low key. It was a dream come true, honestly.
That sounds amazing.
I don't know if everybody knows who Michael Stackpole is. He is the reason why Kai Allard Leal exists. He is the creator of the Kellhounds. He wrote the Warrior trilogy. He has written so many BattleTech books and shaped the universe in so many ways. He is definitely one of my absolute favorite BattleTech authors, like hands down.
That's great. I'm glad you got to meet him and to have those intimate moments, right, where you get to actually have a conversation. You're not shouting over the din of 2,000 other people. Really, is memorable. It's more memorable to the people that you're talking to as well, right? Because they get to remember you for you and not one of 10,000 people they saw that day. So that
exactly
sounds like a great opportunity.
It was amazing.
Awesome. So you got a sneak peek behind the curtain, right? You got some good news for us?
One of the fun things about KerenskyCon is they get to test the waters with a very small group of people who are obviously, I mean, they're Kerenskys, so they are obviously fans of the IP. They are a group of people who definitely have opinions about BattleTech, and to be able to show us a few things and like rule changes, how floating crits are probably going to be the official rule and not an optional rule. Things like that. They can test the waters and see, in general, well, how does this feel? Little things like the commander cases. We talked about those and what changes we'd want to see in those. And I think they took some very good notes.
Oh, fantastic! Because I would love to see some of those changes, those commander cases. I love mine,
right?
But a little bit wider,
but just a little bit deeper to be able to hold some of those assault mechs, things like that. A little bit wider to get the books in there more comfortably, things like that. And all of that is changeable. It's all things that are now on their radar type of things.
Fantastic.
So we went over a lot of that, like the Gothic AU stuff. Yes. Now apparently that came out last year at KerenskyCon, and they kept it a secret for an entire year.
Yeah, there were some mumblings and grumblings of some of that stuff that had come out. It's been around for a little while, but I don't think anyone took it very seriously.
Once pictures came out, then people couldn't say, oh, it's a joke or something like that.
Well, that's just it. I mean, we saw the photos when we were recording the last episode, and we didn't want to comment on it because we knew that we'd get some sort of official announcement soon. We wanted to get real info before we jumped the gun and started, pontificating or theorizing, wildly. Right.
And when they showed us this time, they said we were allowed to take pictures. They asked that we held on to it for like 5 days. They wanted to reveal it at AdeptiCon. Obviously that did not happen, but Lauren knew that once he let people take pictures,
it's over.
You can't stop things. Once it's out on the internet, it can be scraped and people can get access to Discords and things like that. And it's probably going to get out. He would have rather announced it at AdeptiCon, but it was still okay.
Yeah, you can't stop the signal,
when it came out.
Right?
Yeah.
So Gothic, that's a big thing.
Gothic.
What was it like?
So
I mean, you got to see it. You got to hold them.
I was shocked. Like did not see that coming at all. I admit my first opinion when I was looking at it, I looked at it and I'm like, those are going to make great Solaris mechs. And I was very excited about painting them up in Solaris houses without even thinking about the Gothic theme at all. I just loved how they looked. I think there's 8 different mechs that they have. The King Crab looks super cool. The Urban mech looks like it could just hide in a building by standing next to it. The Firestarter, they're really cool looking.
There's a Rifleman, an Atlas.
And the Atlas has this like cape thing on the back and the head, so you swap it out for whichever one you want for whichever house that you're going to paint it up as.
That's pretty cool.
So they all look different. Yeah, it's very cool. So you customize it that way. Like I looked through the primer and I thought, this looks very cool. But I mean, you guys know I like BattleTech, so more mechs, things that I can use for Solaris, things that are different and new. I just like it. And rumor has it the next one might be anime themed. So I want this to do well so I can get other cool looking mechs. I'm down for it.
Yeah, I've heard they're looking at like a ray gun one, so probably like an Atom Punk maybe.
Dude, a Fallout BattleTech crossover would be super cool.
You'd be very happy with that.
I really would. I would.
So
sign me up.
Yeah, I have to admit, when I first saw the original Gothic miniatures, I was a little bit let down. I like BattleTech the way the BattleTech is, right? Initially was not terribly like, okay, great, we've got a king crab with a bunch of rebar kind of stapled to the outside of it, right? All right, that's kind of neat. It might make for a good pirate mech if I needed one or something like that.
Yeah, if you painted rusty instead of like Gothic, you could make some really cool pirate mechs.
It'd be neat. That was the extent of what I thought was going to be coming in this box set. But this is why we waited. And as we got more information, we found out that the story for Gothic AU is more houses versus beasts, right? Abominations. And then I got excited. Because in one of the photographs, you can very clearly see a BSP card for an abomination.
Yep.
And now I'm all over this because we do a lot of narrative games and, some campaign style games at the local shop. And one of the things I've always wanted is giant robot versus giant monster throwdown.
Kaiju, man. Like, yeah, for real.
I don't know if that's a trademark term, so I wasn't going to say it, but
yeah, sure.
No, but yeah, I want stuff fighting beasts, and that now that originally I heard there weren't going to be abomination construction rules, and then they said there might be abomination construction rules.
It all depends on how well it sells as to how many resources they're going to eventually put into this.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. Because if it does well enough, there will be abomination models, and some of those are huge. Like one of them is almost 3 times the height of a mech.
Holy smokes.
Like having a Lance or a Star try to take one of these down, I think that would be an amazing campaign game.
I would love that. So you heard it here, people. Buy the Gothic box because Steve wants his abominations. All right, go do me a favor and go buy it. I will probably get a box. I believe they said they're looking at I think it was like $90 to $100 for the box.
Yeah, I don't know. I am going to get one to play Gothic with, and I'm going to get one to paint up for Solaris. I say that there's going to be a Solaris box set at some point. It's a little bit down the road. The problem is it BattleTech doesn't actually do well in 1v1 fights, and that's kind of what Solaris is all about. Mm-hmm. So they really have to rework it so that either that gets better or it's like focused on 2v2 or something. Who knows? That is something that they are discussing. But until that happens, I want some cool mechs for my Solaris games because we still do that at Hangar 18.
Now, are they doing? I mean, we have the Essentials box, which was Solaris based. Is it something separate or?
It's going to be very separate because the Essentials box was just here is some Solaris stuff because they're only including 2 mechs in it because beginner boxes tend to be 1v1.
Right.
So why not have it in the Solaris arena? That is not the Solaris remake. They are seriously going to be revamping a lot of stuff.
Now, I know that there's also Solaris rules. Like, there were specific rules that broke down turns to be much faster. So there were different rules for machine guns and stuff. Are those being redone?
There's a whole box set. Yeah, everything, because it's going to be a redo of the box set because there was a box set that came out.
Okay.
And it came with a bunch of stuff, and it came with alternate turn, like the way you do turns. It got very involved. It was not a simplification. It was an overcomplication, but it had some really good ideas, and that's not the rules we tend to use at Hangar 18 because it does slow the game down. And as long as you're doing 2v2, it actually works just fine, just normal rules. But we love the arenas there. So I printed out a bunch of the Steiner Coliseum walls and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I'm very curious to see what they do with Solaris. And I really hope that they ask me to help playtest it because I'm invested in Solaris. Always have been.
Cool. I mean, I can't wait to see what they do with it. Did they give any, I mean, I hope they didn't, but did they give any sort of timeline as to when we might see or hear more about some of these things? Or is this just in general in the works?
No, it was very much, there are a couple of things I will talk about here where the timeline is TBA. It's just, they have, and it's not because I've heard some stuff, especially when Gothic came out, why are they wasting their time with this when all of this stuff doesn't work? There are multiple teams working. Some people don't have the skill set to work on some problems, and so they're on other development teams. They have multiple simultaneous teams developing different things, and they're not part of each other, and there's no reason why they should be. So yeah, like the Gothic team is doing their own thing while the TRO people are doing their own thing. There's no crossover.
Right, separate from the MUL
very
team
little
and
crossover.
art team and those other folks.
And if you don't like Gothic, just don't buy it. You don't like nobody's telling
I'm
you.
telling
you have
them to buy it. I want Abominations. Go buy it.
Yes. I will be buying at least 2.
Good.
And I think they're going to come out in like the Gothic blind box. You don't even have to buy the whole box set. If you just want particular ones, you can go get your heavy crab or your king crab.
King crab, not heavy crab.
Yeah. Well, heavy crab was discussed at length. Excellent. A couple different things were passed around. Again, that's a to be determined type of timeline. Nothing was set in stone at all. But we are letting them know that we are not going to stop asking for a heavy crab.
Good.
We want the crab force pack. We want the heavy crab in some fashion. So
I'm telling them I need to keep pushing crab back. And if they know about the charity game, right?
They do now.
Good.
They do now.
Good. We raise money for kids. We need heavy crab. We need it.
We need it.
But so what else came up outside of Gothic, outside of Solaris?
There was a speaking of TROs, they are doing a reprint of the 3025 technical readout, like the original 3025, the one with the vehicles and the lambs in there.
Oh no! Does that mean they're getting new lambs?
Well, so that leads into something else. We'll talk about that in a second.
Oh, please no.
But I want to say that there is new art for the lambs, which tells you that if there's new art, there's always a possibility of plastic.
I hope
not.
Know
what I mean? Shush.
Lambs are horrible.
Shush. They're not. Well, okay. Yes,
they're horrible.
Lamb rules are horrible. But the 3025, it's gonna be funny because this year is 2025. Mm-hmm. Which is 1,000 years until 3025. And this TRO is being written in 3125, like in universe type thing. So it's our 1,000 years to the TRO, but the TRO is written as if it's a 100-year retrospective.
Historical document.
Yes, exactly. So it's keeping all of the errors and all the typos and stuff from the 3025, all the things that don't add up correctly. And then Comstar or whatever, like whoever's writing this, makes annotations and notes in there about each of the typos and the stories behind it. So it is a preserved historical document with annotations at the back of the book. It looked really cool. And of course, the cover looks exactly like the old one, except with everything is new art. So every cool. mech in there is the new art mechs, not the old art, like every single one of them.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it looks super nice.
Presumably that means we're going to get some new models of the old mechs, or
we have most of them. I'm trying to think of any that we don't already have, but yeah, like that would be my assumption is that anything in here they're making new art for, they're going to put out in plastic at some point. Like they're the essential ones. They're the ones that we started with. Like 3025 was the first one. Why wouldn't we get plastics of every single one of those mechs?
Except for the lambs, because they're awful.
So the lambs, and we'll go into that. They have confirmed that Aerospace 3 is coming out.
That's huge.
Aerotech 3.
That's huge. I know a lot of people were really excited for that.
So yes, there's new art for lambs, but they are holding off on making a lamb force pack of any, like even talking about it, until they rework Aerospace and how that works. Because there's no point in making lambs if we can't redo the rules in a way that makes them good. And right now they are not. Like the rules are just we've gone over them in the podcast. Yeah. They're bad.
Yeah.
Do I still play them? Sure. Are they bad? Yes. I would love to see new lambs, and I would love to see reworked rules for them so that they make sense. And Aerotech 3 is the way to do that. Like redo Aerospace, redo Aerotech, and that leads into redoing lambs.
Yeah. I mean, if we get a comprehensive rule set that makes sense, I will not say that I will use them, but I will say I am open to looking at them.
Good.
All right.
As far as aerotech goes, though, like it is so far from being finished because they aren't even sure which rule set they're going to use. We actually had multiple play tests of the different directions they were going in so that we could help them decide what looks like it'll work and what looks like it won't work. And the two systems were very different. One of them was hex based, so you can use it on the aerospace maps. One of them is free form, so you just use a table, no hexes or anything like that. They both had their merits for sure. I know that there's one that I'm leaning more towards, but I'm curious to see how they go. But yeah, there's not much to talk about yet until they decide which direction they're going to go in.
Were you ever a big aerospace guy? Did you like the aerotech rules?
Big aerospace guy? I loved the idea of aerospace until I played aerospace. And then I'm like, oh, I don't have 16 hours to play this one tiny little battle. I'm just going to assume that my mechs all made it to the planet. That's what I'm going to do.
Sure.
Just going to assume.
For me, what drew me to Battletech was the mechs, not the planes. So I'll check it out. I'm excited to see new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
one of the ways that they were going was it definitely for campaign missions that are centered around that. It's like if you've got a 4-hour Battletech game planned, the first hour will be the orbital insertion with the aerospace fighters, and then that leads right into the next 3 hours, which is your Battletech game.
It kind of suck if your plane got shot down at the beginning.
Well, yeah, you better make sure that your stuff is defended, or else it's a real short game and you just start over and you're like, okay, well, that's how that one went.
Right.
Let's reset. Also, we got to talk about force manuals. The Mercenaries force manual is the next one, and it is in print. It should be out relatively. I say relatively in air quotes, and you can't see that, relatively soon.
Now, the Mercenaries force manual is not the Mercenaries Handbook, which is supposed to have more hinterland stuff, correct? Those are different books?
Those are very different books. This is the Mercenary. Originally, there was a Draconis Combine and a Mercenaries combat manuals, and they were kind of like Alpha Strike centered source book type things for each individual units.
Okay.
And so they remade Kurita already as a force manual.
Same with Davian, right?
Also added a lot of, well, the Davian never existed. So the Davian is new.
Okay.
But the Mercenaries was a combat manual, and now they're making it into the force manual. So if you've got the combat manual, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's the same, but with the added things, just like the Draconis one. I don't think they ever made a physical copy of this, but these will all have physical books to go on your bookshelf.
Oh, great. So you said
and then
soon, like soon.
The Mercenaries one should come out soon. I already have the Davian and the Kurita on my shelf.
Right.
And after Mercenaries is going to be the Invading Clans.
Ooh.
So we are going to have to wait for like Merrick and Liao.
Yeah, but we're going to put the important clans first. It's fine.
I mean, it's true. It's true. The invading clans are where all the action
is.
So
what they just said, it's going to be one book for the major invading clans. Is it just going to be the four, looking at everybody, including Novacats and stuff?
I don't know. Again, that one's not even in print yet.
You were supposed to take notes, Denham.
Oh, I did. I took notes of exactly what they told me, which for the invading clans was invading clans is next. Okay, next question.
Oh, brutal.
That's what I got.
Brutal. All right.
Yep.
So more details to come.
More details to come. But it is like that is the next one in line. So if you're waiting for Liao or Merrick or Steiner, it's going to be sometime after the invading clans. And I don't have a timeline for the rest of them. So Kurita, Davian are already out. Mercenaries is coming out soon, and Invading Clans is next. That's all the info I got.
Cool. Now I heard rumor that there was a new box set either being done or coming out soon. Something about a manufacturing something.
Oh yeah. What is the one planet that has changed hands more than any other planet in the history of the Inner Sphere?
That's a lore question, Denham, and you know that my lore knowledge is trash. But if I had to guess, by looking at the notes on the page, I'm going to say Hesperus.
It is Hesperus. It's got giant mech factory production facilities. I mean, it is, you can crank out so many mechs on Hesperus. It can make or break your entire army. So we are getting a box set about that, and it's going to come. It should come with minis, for the most common mechs, manufactured in Hesperus. It's going to be amazing. It's going to have some good maps. It's going to have some good stories. I'm excited.
Awesome.
I'm excited about this one.
No, I actually hope that they do 2 of these. I want it divided into 2 box sets. So A, we can get more minis, but B, then I can say that I got mechs from Hesperus too.
Hesperus. Oh, yeah. I see what you did there. But it's going to go over the history of Hesperus and a lot in the major battles that took place there. Sort of like how the Tukiad book went over the major Tukiad battles.
Cool.
I don't know how big the book is going to be. I don't know the format of it. I just know that they are creating it. It is currently in the works.
All right. Well, look, anything that promises more plastic, I'm all over. So that sounds great. What else did you learn while you were there, Denham? I need deets.
Right. Okay. So there is something that I am really excited about. They are in fact creating a new crunchy BattleTech RPG.
Oh.
So A Time of War is super crunchy. Destiny is not very crunchy at all.
It's pretty loosey-goosey.
Right. So they wanted something a little bit less crunchy than A Time of War, but also that interfaced with Classic better, because Destiny does not interface with Classic super well. It works really, really well with Alpha Strike, like super well. It's a brand new RPG that is going to take the place of A Time of War.
Okay. So,
and if it does well enough, then we will get official modules for it.
Oh, that'd be great.
But it has to do well first is the problem.
Understandable. That's exciting in and of itself. I mean, when I played Destiny, I had a lot of fun with it, but the system I felt left something to be desired. And if we get something that's not quite as overwhelming as Time of War, then I think that'll be pretty well received. I mean, I don't even know if they've started working on this at all, but did they give any indication as to what it may be comparable to system-wise? I mean, we're looking
Nope. Got no details whatsoever. They said that they're not far enough along to have any details yet. So it will probably come out before the Solaris stuff, but nobody knows. They probably don't even know it themselves.
Okay. Well, I mean, at least
it has just been, it has been actually, it should come out before Solaris because it is actually confirmed they are working on it. And Solaris is something that they would like to start working on.
Good. Well, I mean, we'll keep our eyes open and see what we see.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. I will be talking about that a lot as we get details. I was on the playtest for Destiny. I really like it. It is lighter though. I've played role-playing games all my life. I do really like the crunchiness of A Time of War, but I would like something that is easier to get new people in, but it is crunchier than Destiny. Destiny definitely has its place, and I really like it. If you're curious about that, I don't know if you've watched the Black Remnant stuff on Penny Arcade.
I haven't. It's been on my to-watch list, but with all of my
you should.
excess free time that I don't have.
Good thing to have in the background while you're painting, because there's a lot of storytelling, and they're just sitting around the table. So it's a really easy one to listen to. So a long drive or painting is when I tend to catch up on it. And I am behind right now because there's a lot of episodes out. But that's a really good. I like that one so much because they play it using the Destiny rules and the Destiny Alpha Strike integration.
Okay.
And it's all right out of the book. So if you like what they're doing, if you buy Alpha Strike and Destiny, you can do exactly what they're doing. There's no house rules. It's what you see is what you get. This is how it works. And they do a fantastic job. But I would like also to have something crunchier for when I want the more in-depth adventures. So I am very much looking forward to a new iteration of the crunchy RPG.
Awesome. I mean, I'll give it a shot when I get the opportunity.
Celestials. They've been working on those for a while, and because Aces is so exciting to them and that team is related, Celestials did get pushed back until 2026 because of the production of Aces. So that is one of the times when the team is working on two different on the same thing, and so the resources had to be where are we going to put these resources? And they picked aces over the Celestial Force Pack, which is, it is coming. It is still being worked on, and I am excited about it. But the Aces box set looks so good. I did get to play with that. I did get to see that. It comes with some amazing terrain, like the little pop-up cardboard type terrain.
Sure.
But it comes with a lot of it. It comes with a bunch of mechs. It comes with a bunch of the Aces cards. It is really, really cool. And I know they call it like a solo play type thing.
Yeah.
They not the people who are developing Aces. It can be used solo, but it really shines in cooperative play.
Yep.
And that's what we were doing. And they are correct. Like cooperative play is second to none using the Aces system. It is amazing.
I've had the opportunity to do a little bit of play testing on the Aces stuff, and it is very, very cool. I can't talk much about what I've been doing, but if you can talk about what you got to do and play while you were at KerenskyCon, I think that'd be great.
It was, I mean, we set up on these huge maps, and like it was also overwhelming. It's going to be tough for me to give like exact details, but the AI was fun to play against. It was actually like more fun than I thought it would be. And some of the moves that the decks pulled off, I thought were borderline brilliant. And it feels like you're playing an actual opponent in many cases. Yeah. I played an earlier version, and it was cute. It has gone beyond cute now. It is now
dangerous.
It is now dangerous and fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I am incredibly impressed with what they were able to do with just a series of it's effectively an order of operations, right? If this, then this.
Say, as a programmer, as someone who has a degree in computer programming, like this is just a well-written program in card form. It works.
Yeah, it's an awful lot of fun. So I can't wait for that to come out. And I know they've got, I'm also a little biased because I know we're getting a lot of Jade Falcon mechs that I want very badly. So I need more plastic.
Oh, I did see, and that wasn't on here. I did see the Karita Force Pack, the first Karita Force Pack. I know there's a second Karita Force Pack also coming out. Ooh. So it's got the Venom, the Avatar, which anytime you're going to put an Inner Sphere Omni out there so I can bring my Inner Sphere battle armor into battle, I'm excited. The Chimera and a Panther with a jumping pose. So, Panthers are fun. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be in the first Karita set. And I know eventually they're going to do some Draconis Combine themed battle armor packs.
Cool.
So I'm also looking forward to that. So I will pair that with my Avatar. It's going to be fantastic. And I also saw some other mechs, so like the Jade Hawk in plastic. Ooh, I saw that.
I saw those pictures. Those look. Yeah. I mean, I have like 3 Jade Hawks in metal, so I don't think I need any more. But But
not everybody does. Like me, I don't have any, and now I too can win Alpha Strike tournaments. Because I will also have skill 2 Jade Hawks.
I didn't take a skill 2 Jade Hawk. I took a skill 4 Jade Hawk.
No, but people did. Like,
and I think you're thinking of the Jade Phoenix. The Jade Phoenix is different than the Jade Hawk.
Okay, which is the 80-ton one?
That's the Jade Phoenix. The Jade Hawk is the one with the claws on its hands.
I am embarrassed. I think this was in fact the Jade Phoenix. It was a big mech. And you're right. Like the Jade Phoenix is what like I think 4 of my 6 opponents at Southern Assault had a Jade Phoenix. The TMM 4 skill 2 tournament winner.
It's a Jade Falcon mech, and then it got into I think Wolf's Dragoons and Mercenaries, and
Clan Wolf definitely has them now because they just salvaged them off of Terra.
Yeah. You know what I'm still mad about? This is completely unrelated to everything. I'm still mad that there are Falcons alive on Terra, but they don't have super heavy tripods.
Aw.
Give me...
Smoke Jaguar does.
Right? Wolf has them. Wolf Dragoons has them. Merrick has them. Why? We were there. I want a super heavy green monster.
No, you lost. You don't get any.
Well, we'll steal some. I don't... Look.
I mean, technically, the Jade Phoenix is a super... It might as well be a super heavy monster that flies. It's a lamb. It is Jade Falcon's lamb. It is...
Get out of
here. It has
here.
Jump Strong 2 or whatever. Jump Strong 3. It's got Jump Strong way too much.
It's a giant flying rock.
It's amazing. Too amazing.
So that's a lot of stuff out of KerenskyCon. It sounds like a great weekend.
It was really, oh man. Okay. So before we're done with speaking of great weekends, we are going to make a small detour. When Dan picked me up from the airport, thank you again, Dan. I said hi to him. And I think the first thing I said to him in the car was, "Hey, Dan, how do you feel about themed bars?" And he said, "Well, I've been known to go to a bar." I'm like, "But a themed bar?" He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I said, "I know of a spy themed bar that is less than half a mile from the hotel." So we decided to go there Saturday night because it closed at midnight Saturday night. And if we waited till Sunday, it closed at 8 and we never would have made it. So we decided to walk over to this bar. And it's like you need a password to tell someone, and then you need to solve a riddle, and then you need to hit the button, and then the bookshelf in the foyer to this other restaurant opens up, and that's how you get down into this bar. And that's just the beginning. And then the whole bar is spy themed on the inside. It's amazing. It even has this cool phone booth that used to have a payphone, because I had been to this 20-ish years ago.
Okay.
And so there's a phone booth. It doesn't have a phone in it anymore, but it still has the buttons for it's like, oh, my wife is calling me and I'm at a bar. You go into this phone booth, which is soundproofed, and then you hit the button and it will do either like traffic noises or you know, like whatever excuse you would be like I'm stuck in traffic. And so it makes traffic noises. So it sounds like you're stuck in traffic while you're talking to your significant other on the phone. So of course you're not at the bar, you know, you're somewhere else. And it has, you know, 8 or so different choices. It's amazing.
That's pretty funny. I mean,
it's great.
It's 2 a.m. Where are you, Denham? I'm stuck in rush hour traffic at 2.
Right. Well, in that case, like there's one that it's like you're stuck in a battle. There's gunfire and tank shells and explosions, and you're like, everything's just went to hell. I don't know what's going on. I'm obviously not at a bar though.
Perfectly suited for a bar in Detroit, right?
Yeah. So we walked in there and they're like, "Do you need a table?" And I'm like, "No, we're just here for a couple drinks." And they said, "Oh, well, there's some spots open at the bar. And I think the Magic Bar is also free."
I'm sorry, what?
Magic? I said Magic Bar? Because that wasn't there 20 years ago when I was here. Because I had come here when I was at Gen Con, like a long time ago. So I said, "I would like to go to the Magic Bar, please." And she's like, "Okay, just go up there to the stairs and hang a left." And we went up there, and I go to Disney sometimes. I know you know this. This is not a secret.
Right.
At Disney on the boardwalk, there is a place called the Abracadabra.
Okay.
Which is a magic themed bar. I was super excited when we stayed at Boardwalk because I wanted to go to this bar because I like magic tricks. Am I super good at them? Not super good. I mean, I can do some tricks. I know a little bit. I like sleight of hand stuff. So I like a good show. So at Disney, which, you know, is the master of everything, I went to this Abracadabra and I went in and sat down and ordered a drink. And I said, "So where's the magician?" And they're like, "The what?" I'm like, "This is a magic bar. Where's the magician? I want to see a magic trick." They said, "Oh, we don't have one of those. We've got a gin that turns color." I'm like, "That's chemistry. That's not magic. Like that, you just put lemon juice in it and it turns purple or whatever." Like I have that at home. I don't need to see that. I'm at a magic bar. I would like to see magic. It is the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in Disney.
Well, that's tragic.
Ever.
I have a Disney question for you.
This place.
Hold on. Before you continue, I have a Disney question.
Sure,
you
go for it.
Like to go to the Star Wars section of Disney.
I do.
Do they have an Admiral Ack bar?
They have Oga's Cantina, which
that is not Admiral Ack.
It's not Admiral Ack bar. I will now go petition for that. I will petition for that because when you go in there and they say what the drink specials are, you know it's a trap.
It's a trap.
And you're stuck there forever. So Abracadabra and Disney did not like the magic bar. There was the bartender there named Garrett. And from trick number 1, I knew I was in for a treat. Because like I said, I do know some sleight of hand. I do know some card tricks, some pretty cool ones. And I was sober for the first 5 tricks I saw him do. Now, it was kind of slow. It was March Madness. So it was kind of slow to begin with, and then it got a little bit busier later. Dan and I hung out at that bar way too long and had a great time with Garrett. But every time like new people came up, I would stand back and let them like have I would let I would let Garrett do magic tricks for them. Out of the 24 or so tricks I saw him do, one of them I actually knew. Like, I knew this trick. I have done this trick before. No idea how he did it. Like, I knew what to watch for. I knew what he was doing. Never saw any of it. He was so smooth that I have decided that he was not doing sleight of hand. He is an Eldritch Beast who got stuck at this bar for, penance of something that he did wrong. It was
sounds like a great
amazing.
Time. I mean, obviously the final trick was transferring all of the money from your account to the bar tab, but
I gave him a $50 tip, 100%. He earned every single bit of that.
That's awesome.
Like, hands down, this guy was amazing. And he did, he did the standard card tricks, and it was so smooth. There was this one couple that came in. The wife was very into it, and the husband was like doing the whole arms crossed. He's like, I saw how you did that. I saw how you did that. And he just destroyed that guy. That guy, like, at the end of this trick, he's just like I've had enough of this. I'm leaving. Like, so you're not going to tell me how I did that one?
What a jerk.
Oh, he was, but Garrett handled him so well. It was amazing. So, yeah, like I said, the first 5 tricks or so, I was completely sober. By the end of the night, I was quite a bit tipsy, and there was this one trick. Like, there's sleight of hand, all right? You show them the cards, you pick a card, you put it back in the deck. There's card manipulation. Like, we know how that works. This one guy came walking up, and he was pretty toasty. And Garrett was about to do card tricks with him, and he looked at him. He's like, I don't want you touching my deck. How about this? I want you to think of a card. The guy's like, okay. It's like, do you got the card in your head? It's like, yeah. Do I need to tell it? He's like, no. Don't tell it to anyone. Just think of the card really hard. And he's in there, and he's like shuffling the deck. He's like playing with the deck, but he's having a conversation with this guy about him thinking of a card. And then at the end, he just pulls up a card, and it's facing Garrett. So nobody else can see it in the bar. And he's like, I'm going to show you a card. And I know that you're really toasty. So a lot of times people don't remember what their card was. So, they'll just agree with me that that's a card. So right now, I want you to tell me what your card was. And the guy's like, well, it was 3 of clubs. And he flips it around, and it's the 3 of clubs. And I've seen a lot of sleight of hand. I've never seen someone just say, think of a card. Here's your card. Like that one, beyond me. Do not know. It was...
That sounds unreal. I wish I could have seen that. That sounds like
well, next time we're all in Milwaukee, let's go. Right. Like everybody.
We'll make a reason to go.
All of us. And I mean everybody on the Discord. Let's go. It was so amazing. That's exactly what I wanted out of a magic bar. Not the abracadabra annoyance, but that was super amazing.
Awesome. What else did you guys do while you were at KerenskyCon? I mean, I know you said you took Stackpole out to dinner, and I know you...
It was like from the time we woke up, like breakfast was our responsibility. We woke up, we had breakfast, and then it was just KerenskyCon, like sitting around chatting with the writers and the developers and Lauren and Randall, with some breaks, and then play testing and everything. And it went from about 9 in the morning till about 11 at night.
Oh, wow. So packed days. Just
right. So like we had free time to play around with some of the stuff on Saturday. And instead we walked over to the bar. So it was actually, there was stuff we could have been doing for KerenskyCon, but I really wanted to go check out the spy bar is called the Safe House. I really wanted to go see that because I had so much fun at it 20 years ago. That I'm just like, look, I'm taking you to a bar, Dan. So we're going to go at some point. Other than that, it was just like we never left the hotel. It was just wall to wall BattleTech stuff, play testing, talking, getting stuff signed. It was an amazing time, but it was all, like you said, wall to wall. They fed us lunch. They fed us dinner. We were on our own for breakfast. It was good stuff.
Well, Denham, that sounds like you had an absolute blast. I'm super jealous.
And you should be. You absolutely should be. It was the most amazing thing. And I cannot thank Dan enough. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'm glad I won the trial of possession, which nobody else showed up for. So I won by default.
Hey, man. Like I said, we wanted to make sure you got at least one, right?
It's fair enough. I will take it. However, Steve, This was the weekend before AdeptiCon, and AdeptiCon is like 5 days. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's long.
Yeah.
I was recovering for most of that week and the weekend. There's a lot of AdeptiCon stuff that I missed. I know that you were following some of it. Help me catch up on some of the AdeptiCon stuff that happened while I was sleeping KerenskyCon off.
Sure. There is no way that we can reasonably expect our listeners to go from a 4-hour episode about Brawl in the Bluegrass to another 4-hour episode about Adepticon. So
that much stuff, huh?
Tons and tons. Some of it's speculation. Some of it's not confirmed. Some of it is we'd like to do this, but we don't know if it's happening. So I think there are about a dozen points that you absolutely need to know about that came out of the announcements from Adepticon.
Hit me.
First and foremost, right? I think this is kind of a toss-up between 2 or 3 of these, but there's an update on the Master Unit List 2.0.
I know about this. Is this coming? Did they give us a date?
So no, we don't have a timeline set as of yet, but Randall was saying hopefully within the next 2 months.
Well, that's soon.
That is soon. But some people have said, well, it's been pending at the 2-month mark for a while now. But
so Catalyst 2 months.
Okay.
So 2027. Got it.
Maybe. I still hold out hope because I want record sheets. I want Alpha Strike cards.
This is the one with the record sheets included in it. That's gonna be major.
Huge. I mean, because right now you either have to go through Mega Mech or you have to go through Flex Sheets or go through Mortal or any of the other sources.
Flex Sheets pulls from Mega Mech, so it's kind of the same thing. Like Mega Mech is good, but the learning curve to get into it is a little steep. Just to have the record sheets on the Mo, that's huge.
Well, the number of times I'm trying to build a list and I go, oh, cool, I have access to this mech. What's on it? I don't know. Yeah. Right? Like then I got to go to the Mega Mech or go to Flex and look it up, and it's okay, great. But then there's this variant. Ooh, I like this variant better. Do I have access to it? No. And it's just, I'd like to have it all in one spot. Which
this is big. Yeah. This is really big. I am actually like, I did not know they were that far along. I am giddy about this. This is a big thing.
Yeah, the thing is, I think it would have been out already, but for 2 of the developers of the MUL having horrible circumstances occur, right? One of them passed away, and then the one's home was destroyed in the hurricane season. So like it just threw everything off, right? So they're moving forward.
That's okay. I feel now a little bit bad about. Yeah, that is. Yeah,
those are some setbacks, right? So yeah, patience is appreciated, but I know when they deliver it, I think we'll be in good shape. And I think
they did awesome work. So my condolences to the families for sure.
Yeah. And I know, I say I know, I don't know. This is speculation on my part, but I believe I heard that they were also going to include BSP cards on MUL2.
That would be amazing.
Right. So it would be pretty handy.
Because there's no conversion. Like at least with Alpha Strike, you can go into Mega Mech and do a classic to Alpha Strike conversion, but there are no conversions for BSPs. They just create the BSP cards individually. So having them on the master unit list, that's important too, if they can do that. Yeah. I know that's going to be a lot of work.
It's going to be a ton of work, and this is why I will continue to be patient. I mean, I want it more than a lot of other things in BattleTech, but good things come.
So I assume that they're gonna beef up the back end so that when it's tournament time, it doesn't crawl down to crash all the server for the MU.
Get a couple extra hamsters to run those wheels.
Maybe get a second one of those.
But yeah, so that's very exciting. The other huge news that people have been asking for a long time, Battle Value 3.0 is
no
coming.
Way.
Yes.
I have heard about the updated master unit list. I had no idea anyone was working on BV 3.0. Like that is news to me.
It's been asked for a long time.
BB 2 is not perfect, but it works. So I'm curious to see. I bet a lot of that's going to be centered around targeting computer, large pulse laser jump jumpy boys.
I think that's what the general consensus is. So they're calling it BV 3.0, but from what I understand, it's not a total overhaul of the BV system.
Right,
it's more of an
there's a lot of
update
stuff that worked.
balance from 2.0. So maybe it's like a 2.5. I call it whatever number you want. We're getting an update and a balance.
Look, I'll be sad that my 10, 12, 10 Spider will be way more expensive now, but it kind of needs to be.
Oh, hey, all those Phoenix, not Phoenix Hawks, the Jade Phoenixes. All those Jade Phoenixes are about to get whacked with a stick. So plan while you got them. Which is exciting.
The Viper, the Goshawk, like there's so many mechs out there that the meta says take those to win.
I'm very afraid.
I think this is going to make tournaments a lot more fun because you won't have to ban certain mechs, and nothing's worse than I like to take this mech, but it is banned from the tournament. I'd rather just be more expensive. So if this is the path towards that, I think this is good. Yeah,
I'm nervous because Jade Falcons have a lot of partial wings, which means we jump real far. And I'm like, my guys are about to get hit the hardest, and I'm about to cry. But I mean,
yeah, they're too good, Steve. I didn't want to tell you that before I heard they were being nerfed, but now that they're being nerfed, I can tell you your mechs are just too good.
Well, we have the best engineers and Aztecs. Get on our level.
Hey, there's a reason why Jade Falcon was behind the late LAM resurgence. Like they were going to put out dual cockpit LAMs, so one pilot, one Mechwarrior. It was going to be epic.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, this actually isn't on my notes, but I remember seeing this. There's talk of a rework for the super heavies, right?
Oh,
so there are 3 pilots, right? There's your gunner, there's your pilot. I believe the third seat is, I think, a specialist or a comms officer or something like that. What people were doing previously is they would take a 1-8 gunner, a 8-1 pilot, and then like a 4-4 communication or whatever, right? And you would swing it so you keep your BV cost really low. There's been talk that you now, as kind of a rework for the 3-pilot system, you must have your technician or your comms guy be whatever the value of the mech is going to be or something like that. So you can't do like a 1-8 and an 8-1 and like a 4-5. If you try to do that now, the mech's going to operate as like a 4-5, right? You can't cheese it to get a 1-1 on a super heavy and only pay for half of it. So that
I did notice that when I started playing with my Poseidon, but the Poseidon never lasts long enough. Like it's not, it looks intimidating and scary. It is not a super great combat force. Like it is way too easy to take down. So I never worried about the balance. It would be nice so that people can't game the system that way. I approve of this change.
Yes. So, okay. I have the source here. This came from Zotl himself, or Xtol, or however that's pronounced, XOTL.
Yeah, I call him Zotl, but who knows?
I can't pronounce it. I get a lot of things wrong. So it's actually an errata, right? So an errata will be issued. This comes from the forums that you use the gunnery skill of the Mechwarrior assigned as a dedicated gunner, and the piloting skill of the Mechwarrior assigned as a dedicated pilot.
I think that's great.
The technical officer always has skill ratings equivalent to these, and it cannot be altered, rather than a separate batch that skews the numbers. Right.
Because he's the backup anyway if one of those two goes down.
Right. So if you have a 1-8 and an 8-1, then your technical officer would be a 1-1, and you're
a 1-1
paying for it.
And the BV is a 1-1. Yeah. I like that.
So yeah, I think it's a great change.
It's a little bit of coding in Megamech to make that happen, but I don't see that as being a difficult change.
No, I think it's going to be well appreciated for a lot of people that have gone up against super heavies. In other news, we have, the era of total warfare is coming to an end. After
it's been a while.
Yeah, after 17 years, it'll be replaced.
I saw that 17-year part, and I stopped, and I had to do the math. And man, I am old now, Steve.
This is news to no one. Well, it should be you.
I'm good at convincing myself otherwise.
Yeah, stay young. It's in the heart, right?
That's right.
So no, I think it's supposed to be being done in the style of the Battle Mech Manual.
That's good.
Trying to reorganize some things and simplify some things. So
the Battle Mech Manual is written much more concisely It's easier to read than the current Total Warfare. I have heard a little bit about this. I know that some parts are going to be moved out, some parts are going to be shifted around, some parts are going to be put into a different book. I know that there's going to be private and public playtests of this before it comes out. It will be rigorously tested. I know that that part of that is the like the floating crit rule becoming a standard rule instead of an optional rule. Things like that will be part of the playtest to make sure that it works. I think this is going to be great. Is it BattleTech 2.0? No, the rules are still the same rules we've had for 40 years now, but it's going to be a lot easier to read, and a few erratas, but all in all, it's still the same game, and I think this is great.
I think for me, the biggest thing is the reorganization, right? Because when you're sitting at the table and you're trying to look up a rule and you open up Total Warfare, you're like, where is this stupid rule? I cannot find it. I'm hoping with the Battle Mech Manual type refit, it'll be more easily navigable, and we can absolutely, pick up rules faster rather than trying to control F stuff, right? Find it in the PDF. So that's exciting.
Right, because sometimes I'm there with an actual book, and it is Total Warfare is actually hard to find a specific rule. Battle Mech Manual is much, much easier. This is going to be great.
Yeah, very excited for that. In other news, right, we get to talk about things that you and I have problems with. Plastic. We're getting new plastic. A whole bunch of boxes are looking at being worked on, one of which people will be very excited about is a Fox Patrol box.
Yay, I am excited about that.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time with Brian Young at KerenskyCon. Fantastic guy. We actually talked more about Star Wars than we did about BattleTech. But I really like the Fox Patrol stuff. So
yeah, it's funny. My wife likes the Fox Patrol stuff.
That doesn't surprise me even a little bit.
No,
at all.
She's not really into BattleTech, and she's very tolerant of my obsession. But I think if this Fox Patrol box comes out and I can get a hold of one, I just happen to leave it on her desk. Maybe she'll paint it. I don't know.
My daughter is very excited about this Fox Patrol box set. Very excited.
Awesome. So that's good. I think it's I hope we get new poses, right? Because a lot of the mechs we already have in plastic, but having a box,
we got to have new poses and like Fox Patrol paint scheme. It's going to be great.
It's going to be fun. This is one of the rumors, but I'm so excited for it. I wanted to bring it out there anyway. There was talk about maybe kind of sort of putting together a Bug Company box.
Right? Like for real. That just it just makes sense.
I want my locust.
Even if it's more than a 4, like if it's up to a 6, like you could do a box with 6 of them.
Well, I think they said, the phrase that was used was a Bug Company box.
Oh, so, that would be amazing. I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, there are a ton of these mechs out there. So, I mean, just off the top of my head, right, you've got your Wasp, the Spider, the Locust, the Flea, the Cicada, the Grasshopper, the Firefly, the Hornet, right? You got your Dragonfly, you got like a Fire Bee, the Cricket, the Fire Moth. I mean, that's 12 right there.
A crab is a bug, right?
Denham.
What is a bug? I know what an insect is. What is a bug?
Bug? I don't know. It's not a scientific definition. Probably something that's creepy and or crawly, right? I mean,
so a crab.
No, crabs are cuddly and nice.
That's right. Cuddly and nice.
They just pinch here sometimes.
It's a love pinch.
But no, so if this happens, I'll be all over it because I've been wanting to gather some of these.
But here's the thing. People are already making bug companies. Why not have an official one?
People will buy it. I would.
I mean, that's not saying much.
We buy everything.
Everything.
But other plastic that's coming. Oh, here's news. News actually about plastic. The Blood Asp and those Savannah Masters that we got from the Kickstarter. Those are being rolled into regular salvage boxes. Well, I'll rephrase. The Blood Asp is being put into the mech salvage boxes, and Savannah Masters are going into vehicle salvage boxes. So that's pretty exciting. When that will happen, I don't know. I mean, there's been some rumors as early as July, and
look, it means that they're printing more salvage boxes, and that I need more salvage boxes.
You won't get them, Denham. They'll be sold out of your store, and this is the one leg up I have on you is that I can get salvage boxes.
Well, do you have the blind box game rules, because that's why we don't have blind or salvage boxes, is because of this game type mode that we have at our store.
So I think you've shared them
super
with me
popular
in the past. And the thing is, the store that I play at, we choose to play at the store that we're in because there's a bar in the store. This store, I've talked to the owner on multiple occasions. I'm trying to get them to get BattleTech miniatures, right? They don't carry them in the store. They're predominantly a Magic the Gathering store, right? But they have a bar. So we play there. They're very nice to us and they tolerate us. But I'm trying to get them to get actual plastic for us to buy because that would generate a lot more players, I think.
It would.
Other plastic coming. We're looking at, we talked about Gothic a little bit. I do think they've confirmed that Gothic salvage boxes will be a thing.
If the regular boxes sell well enough, they will absolutely do that. But if nobody buys any, then they're gonna stop that real fast.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not going to lose money on it, that's for sure.
No, they won't.
Wars of Reaving, that's coming out.
The trilogy,
yep.
Yeah.
But along with those books that are coming out, we're going to get a Wars of Reaving Force Pack.
Does that mean
we're getting plastic proto-mechs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I've got metal ones, but those hurt when you throw them at people. Plastic ones would be a lot better.
I'm kind of bummed. I mean, I'm sure this is going to take a long time, but I literally just bought like a handful of proto-mechs when I went to Iron Man Metals, and I'm like, really? Now that's you fine. Tell me? But
yeah, but how many is a handful? Like 30?
No. I think I bought about a dozen.
Rookie numbers. Yeah, you won't even notice.
Well, a lot of them they were out of, and I bought out the last of the Centurions and some other stuff. So not Centurions, Centaurs. Yeah. So, but I think that's most of the plastic news. I know we are getting an Alpha Strike Battlefield support deck, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. Now I assume that's for like aerospace. Like Alpha Strike already has aerospace rules that work really well. Is this more for like?
I think this is Battlefield support because if you get the Alpha Strike, I'm thinking like strikes and everything else, right? Because
vehicles are just vehicle. Like vehicles are just another unit, so there's no
assets,
no need to.
Not really,
right.
So
like there's no need for assets.
But the thing is
just like a simplified artillery and strikes.
Well,
because that would be cool.
You have to think about it. In the Alpha Strike box, you get some of those in card form, but it's not a full list of all of the strikes. So
that would be cool. That would be very cool to have that, because I think it would simplify some of the harder bits of Alpha Strike, like artillery.
Yeah.
Like you could just do simplified BSP artillery and not have a lot of the problems you do that currently plague tournament play.
Yeah.
That would be cool. That would be very cool. I'm down with that.
For those of you that are all about audiobooks, it's been confirmed that very close to 20 audiobooks are ready to go. And
yes, and this includes redone versions of the ones that, like the old ones that are out there, that like the abridged versions of some of these audiobooks that are just horrible, and they're doing an unabridged version of these books with that are much better. So for those of you who accidentally bought the abridged versions, they're redoing all of those.
That's very exciting because I know a lot of people have been asking for those for a long time. So
yeah.
And I think the final bit of major news here is the Mech Commander's Handbook. You had some inside scoop on that?
Well, my inside scoop is it was supposed to be out already. It keeps getting pushed back and delayed, but I mean, it's because they're doing amazing things with it, and it's supposed to be. It's like how to not mercenary unit campaigns, but how to run campaigns. How to. It's like what's next in BattleTech. You've got the box set. You enjoy playing. You're getting tired of stand up meet me in the middle fights. Like you want to do more with it. But how do I do that? And this book explains how you do that. It's what's the next step in BattleTech for your tabletop play, for your home and hobby shop. It's like an instruction manual of here's what's next.
So is this going to be like campaign ops, but reduxed or?
Yes. There is a lot of the campaign ops stuff is put into that. Again, I don't have all the details. I've never actually seen it. These are all just rumors and what I've read on like forum posts and stuff. But it is definitely just a mix of how to do campaign play at your home.
Cool. looking forward to it.
I'm super excited about it. It should have some amazing parts in there.
Well, I mean, I'll get my hands on it as soon as I can, right? I mean, that's just a little bit of a waiting game for a lot of this stuff.
But I would rather wait and have a good product than have a product that was rushed out and needs to be errated or like I don't want to wait for the second or third printing. I would rather wait the first time. I
100% agree.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like it's only late until it shows up, but if you release it bad, that's people's first impression.
Yep.
So I'm very happy to wait.
Yeah, well, I think we're all going to do an awful lot of waiting because there has been a ton of news over the last week, tons of updates. I mean, this is really, I'm shocked they waited to tell us a lot of this stuff. I mean, I know you want to have big announcements for a big con like this, but
yeah,
man, there were some bombs in this stuff. So I'm looking forward to almost all of it, and we'll just have to be patient.
Yeah. So yeah, like as things are confirmed, like you said, we'll probably have episodes that are specifically centered around certain things. But yeah, there was like looking over this because I did while we were talking, I looked it up, and there's just pages of speculation and announcements and new plastics that are coming out in force packs. And I we're not going to just sit here and read a list of things to you. You can find that just as easily as I just did. But if you want us to talk about anything, let us know on Discord, and we will be sure to include that.
Alternatively, reach out to us via email, right, at the mechbaypodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Discord. You can find us posting things on Instagram, and I don't think we use the Facebook anymore, but it's out there.
Facebook is a valid thing. I have answered people on Facebook,
okay,
for sure.
All right.
I'm old. It's okay.
No, well, thank you all to the patrons who help us do this. And if you do decide to become a patron, you'll get access to our secret channel that you can discuss with us more directly on the Discord. And you get access to the MechBay After Darks, where we talk about things that are not necessarily related to Battletech, but are Battletech adjacent.
Right. And the drinks flow freely on that.
We have some good conversations on those. Well, Denham, I think that just about wraps us up.
Yep. I appreciate it, Steve. Thank you very, very much.
Okay. We'll see you all next time.